Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Talk podcast. First, and honestly, I'd say foremost, the most important thing we need to get out into the air right now, happy first day of spring. Apparently, today's the first day of spring. Today is March 19th when I'm actually recording this. That is something we'll also talk about in a second, but yeah, apparently today's the first day of spring. I honestly think that's amazing. Where I live right now, the high and what it currently is right now is 45 degrees, so not very springy, if you ask me, but I guess we'll take it. The last week was like 60s and honestly the greatest weather ever, and now that it's, I guess, officially spring, it's not so spring outside. It also says it's 45 and feels like 38, so it is a bit chilly, on the chillier side today. But I don't know, once I realized it was spring, I'm trying to find the episode I'm going to be talking about today in my Notion app, and I apparently can't do multiple things at once right now. Once I found out that today was spring, it kind of actually put me in a really good mood because that just means winter is over. Winter blues are officially gonna be put in the past. They're officially gonna be gone. And that within itself makes me so happy. The weather getting a little better would make today a little better, but like, I don't know, just the fact that it's no longer like winter season, I'm pumped. I'm through the freaking roof ecstatic right now, and that put me in such a good mood. I'm recording this podcast right now. Like I just said, today is the 19th. You want to know what today is? Today is a Tuesday. Okay? We're just going to let that sink in for a second because if you know, you should be so freaking proud. I'm so proud of myself. I mean, you don't have to be proud. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but like, pretend you're proud for me. I'm usually recording my podcast episodes on a Sunday, and my episodes go up on a Monday. So the fact that like one went up yesterday and I'm already recording the next one today, if that doesn't tell you like how good of a mood I'm in, I think that should just say enough right there. It is Tuesday. It is currently 2 p.m. I have work in a couple hours. I have like a short shift today, later tonight. So I was like, okay, I still have a few hours before I go to work. I still have a little bit before I even have to get ready for work. I was just watching the new Dropouts episode, and I don't know, something about Dropouts, if you haven't listened to their podcast, I highly recommend it. I love it so much. I love them so much. I was listening to it. I was watching it on YouTube, and I like forgot today was Tuesday for a second, and I was on YouTube trying to find something to watch and have in the background because I was cleaning the kitchen for a little bit. Not that any of this is really relevant, I guess, but I don't know, maybe I just felt like talking again, and I don't know, maybe this is just how we're gonna do this episode. I was cleaning the kitchen and like throwing in some laundry, and I wanted a YouTube video on in the background, and I was going through like the recently uploaded playlists, whatever it's called, on YouTube, and the Dropouts podcast was right there, and I was like, oh my god, I forgot today's Tuesday. And the episode looked really interesting. I was super excited. I put it on. I was loving it, and it was putting me in more of a good mood than I already was in, which is crazy. So then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go sit and talk to the camera. Like, now I'm sitting and talking to you guys. I feel like I was getting somewhere with that before I like started babbling, but I don't know. I'm just kind of in a mood. I want to talk. I want to sit. I want to chat. I want to have a good time. So I decided to set up the podcast, start recording, and here we are. It is, like I said, 2 p.m. So another thing I was going to point out is that it's freaking daylight outside. It is daytime. I am normally recording these episodes. My hand has been going crazy. If you're watching the podcast right now, like, I don't even think I'm the slightest bit Italian. I could be wrong. I don't even know what I am, if we're being honest, but I didn't think I was Italian, but you would probably assume that I am with the way that I talk with my hands. But what was I even saying before that? I forget what I was saying. That's how like crazy my mind is right now. Like I am such on like a go, 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 talk, talk, talk situation right now that I don't know if you're going to like me during this episode, because like I'm probably going to get super annoying because I'm just going to sound like I'm on a tangent. But anyways, I decided to set up the podcast, get it going, start talking. I had an episode planned, so obviously we're going to get into that in a second, but I don't know, like it's just good moods just make like the flow of, I guess, conversations and everything going on talking wise, it just goes. Like I just have so much to say right now, and luckily that is where a podcast comes in. Like this is where you're just going to drop all those like thought bombs out into the air. I was going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to actually record right now, but like I was kind of proud of myself for getting ahead of the game, that I didn't want to take it away. So here we are. Do I have anything else I wanted to like just drop on you guys before we started this episode? Oh, you want to hear a story? I promise this is going to be the last off-topic thing I'll say before we get into the topic, which the topic is probably not even going to be that fun because it's going to be kind of talking about adulting, but this kind of has to do with that. Yesterday, I kind of sort of allegedly cheated the system, and I knew I had an appointment yesterday morning. Well, I kind of remembered over the weekend, but I had already planned something else yesterday morning that I really needed to go to. So I kind of like overbooked myself. And this place called me to like confirm my appointment, and I called them and I was like, oh my god, like I totally forgot I had one. I have work this morning. Is there a way to reschedule? Blah blah blah. Meanwhile, when I got a phone call yesterday, it was like to confirm. So basically they were like confirming that I was going to show up to this appointment, right? Like they're not going to confirm for no other reason of you're going to be here at your scheduled time. So I called them back maybe like half hour to an hour later. Meanwhile, my appointment from when I called was like 2 hours after that. So like they called with plenty of time. So like it's not like I was canceling last minute. But I was like, oh my god, I have work. Is there a way to reschedule? Like I could literally do tomorrow before like 2:00 if anything is possible. So I made an appointment. I don't remember if the lady said 8:45 or 9:45. So meanwhile, I'm going up there for 8:45 because I'd rather be late. Well, so I'd rather not be late. I'd rather be early than be late, but I also wanted to be early on an appointment I rescheduled because like I messed it up rather than late. And I'm almost there. I'm literally getting off the highway and I'm getting a call from them, and I thought it was going to be to confirm. So part of me was like, oh my god, I'm early. It was for 9:45 instead of 8:45, and here I am showing up at 8:45. And they call me, and they're like, oh, the person that is supposed to be holding your meeting today is sick, so we can't have the meeting today. Meanwhile, I'm not even kidding you. I'm probably less than 10 minutes from being there. And I was like, are you kidding? Like in my head, I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Like I got up here probably earlier than I had to be, and they're going to tell me that they have to cancel my appointment. Which then she proceeded to say something about the fact that it was supposed to be yesterday and they're still sick. But no one mentioned that yesterday they weren't there, so I was confused. Like I'm confused if I would have showed up and even had my appointment yesterday. But nonetheless, I was supposed to have it this morning and it got canceled. And so the lady was like, do you want to like try to reschedule, or we could just push it back and have it next month? Meanwhile, I live right now like 45 minutes from this appointment. So I was a little annoyed, a little irritated. I was kind of like wondering how the day before would have went if I actually went to go show up to that appointment, and was kind of like, dang, I guess this is what I get for lying and saying that I had work when I didn't and had to miss the appointment, because now I missed out on this one because, I don't know, karma, I don't know. But anyways, I had to push back my appointment for like a month. So I have it next month because I was like, I'm not going to try to reschedule it again this week. A, because I won't be able to make it because of work, like actual work now. And B, I wasn't really feeling it at that point. Like, I was like, you know what? Like, no, that's a lot. That's too much. I don't feel like driving up here again. If I don't have to, we'll just push it back. So now I have it a month later. So we'll see what happens then. But anyways, streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, anywhere you stream your podcast. We are here on YouTube, Girls Gotta Talk Podcast. Come join the fam over here, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I actually, not that it's a lot, but like it's a lot if you think about it. We just hit 200 subscribers on the podcast YouTube channel, which is pretty fun. It was actually sitting at 199 for a long time, and I was like, I'm not too upset about it, but I was like, a lot of people probably listen on platforms rather than come on YouTube. So I just like putting video up for the podcast, because me personally, when I started watching podcasts and listening to podcasts, I had to physically like watch it in order to, I don't know how to explain it, like be okay with it. I don't know. If I was listening to a podcast and not like watching it at the same time, like it was just weird to me, like people just talking in my ear, like I felt, I don't know, it was so weird to me, like the concept of it. So when I started a podcast, like this podcast, and like had it up, I automatically wanted to put it on streaming platforms, because I feel like that's where a lot of people listen to podcasts, but at the same time, I wanted like the visual up, because I know me, and if anyone out there is like me, you like to watch it. So we have best of both worlds out there for everyone, however you like to listen to podcasts. Yeah, with that being said, so the story I just told is kind of going into today's topic of kind of adulting and being in your 20s. I feel like being in your 20s is kind of the weirdest roller coaster you'll ever ride, because you're kind of being an adult. When you hit your 20s, you're only a few years kind of into adulthood according to the world. Like, you're a few years over 18. You've technically been an adult. You might not have like stepped into adulthood, if you will. You're probably just getting out of college if you went to college, or you're in college if you're going to college. You're about to be out of college in a few years. You're getting your first job, adult job, or actual job, however you want to, like however you're doing it in life. Everyone's path is obviously super different, so I'm trying to like speak from all perspectives right now. But if you're not currently 20 years old, I don't want this video to scare you. I don't want this talk to like make you nervous for being an adult. Like I just said, everyone's path in their 20s is definitely going to be different, but let me tell you, I am currently 27 years old, turning 28 this year. So I have kind of, as weird and scary as that sounds, have been and almost been through living in my 20s. That is the weirdest thing I've ever said to myself out loud. I keep telling myself that, like, I'm not scared to turn 30. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. 30 is kind of just another age, another number, another trip around the sun, another fun time, however you want to word it. But I'm 27 right now. I turned 28 in September, so I still have a while to go, like 5.5, 6 more months. And it is the weirdest thing you ever go through. You're going through becoming an adult and starting to do things on your own, like move out, all this stuff. You're trying to be responsible and, having like a job and having your income and all this stuff, but also still trying to like live your life and have fun. And I don't know, I feel like there's just a lot going on. Like when you go through high school and you're in your teenage years, you're living with like parents, guardians, whoever you grew up with, whether it be like siblings, family, cousins, like friends, like all that stuff. And you're going through school Monday through Friday. Weekends, you're either going to parties, going on dates, hanging out with friends, really anything. And then like it all groups back on Sunday. Monday, you're doing the same thing. Your school, sports, homework, all that stuff. When you're out of school and honestly into the real world, I feel like it's almost like a whole like flip of life. I personally didn't go to college, so I can't talk about the college experience after high school. I'm sure that is a different story within itself, but I went from graduated high school, and then the whole year after I graduated high school, I didn't do anything. I was, if you will, the lazy bum that was at home all the time, trying to go out and like hang out with friends. I didn't have I don't think, when did I get my first car? I know for a little bit I didn't have a car at the moment, so I was like trying to maneuver times to hang out with people using my parents' car, but of course they're like, well, if you're gonna use it, that's fine, but you have to put gas in it. I didn't have a job, so how was I gonna put gas in it? Like, it was so the weirdest thing trying to figure out where to get money from to put the little bit of gas into the tank to be able to use the car. Like, it was just, that's how I was raised. Like, if you want it, like, you kind of working for it, if you will, which is, I would definitely say, really helpful and really like a good thing, because there's definitely been some things that I've worked for that that little life lesson back then had taught me. Eventually when I got my car, I got a job a year after I graduated high school, so I've been working since then, which honestly was in 2015. So I've had a job, not the same job, but I've been working since 2015. Well, just getting a little personal right now. So then you're like trying to kind of support yourself, kind of watching how you get money in, how you spend money, how to save money, how to pay bills. Because at that point, then you're trying to pay car payments on time. At that point, then you're building credit. Like, everything is so crazy as an adult, because I feel like almost a lot of things just hit you all at once you become an adult. Like, once you step into that 18, 19, especially in your 20 range, so much is happening that you're just kind of jumping right into it and trying to like smooth sail with it all. The weirdest thing we'll start with like little things. So the first thing is friendships. Going through my 20s, I mean, obviously when you're still in high school and you're going through school and you're like going into college and have the best friends you've had either through high school, since elementary school, since any grade, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be friends with them forever. I'm never going to forget them. We're going to talk all the time. We're never going to lose touch. Even if we don't go to the same school, like, we're still going to hang out when we come home during breaks and all this stuff. Do not be alarmed. Do not be, I don't want to say upset, because sometimes it is upsetting, but like, it's going to happen. Like, you're going to lose touch with friends throughout your life, as scary and sad as that sounds. Friendships are definitely something I didn't think I would necessarily lose as a whole. I definitely didn't think I would keep in touch with like everyone I was keeping in touch with throughout my whole life, but I didn't think I would stop talking to people altogether. There have been weird circumstances where like all of a sudden I just start talking to someone again, and then it's the same thing. It's like you don't talk for a little bit and then you talk to them again, and it's all like a catch up moment almost. But I don't know, like losing friendships is really weird and really sad when you think about it. And then you still have those friends that like you don't talk to all the time, but you know you're still friends. If that makes sense, like it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, I've lost contact with them. Like, no, we'll talk once or twice like a month, but like we're still best friends. Like we're still besties. Like it's not like I've lost contact with them. I don't know, it's really weird. But at the same time, you go through almost a different part of life where like you find new friends. So like you lost contact with friends either in old hometowns or old schools, old grades, old contacts, but you're finding friends in either new schools, whether it be if you changed schools throughout like K through 12, if you found friends that you became really, really, really good friends with in college, or in a new town that you live in from either work or friends of friends or anything. But you find new friends basically throughout life. It's not like you go through life, you lost this friend, okay, well, no one's gonna replace them, but it's not like you're not gonna have anyone with you throughout your life. Like you're gonna celebrate little milestones and a lot of things in your life with someone by your side. Another really weird thing to me being in your 20s, especially starting at like 2021 and hitting like where I'm at 27, 28, 29 type of situation, is like being on track with your life. You kind of see like movies or how other people are kind of living their life, and you're like, wow, how come that didn't happen to me? Or how do I do that? Or they're so far ahead, like they're so like in their professional job, professionals, like what they went to school for. I went to school for this, and here I am doing this instead. It's so weird. Like you see people buying houses and getting married and having kids and moving away from hometowns or even out of state, or like to their dream location of where they've always talked about going, and you're kind of wondering like, how did you even manage to get there? Life is so weird. It's one of those things where it's like life is directing you where it needs to direct you. Like you're where you need to be in the moment. I, for some reason, am like a firm believer on that. I love thinking of, I don't know, like deep things like that sometimes, of like, I wish I was doing this, but like I'm at this point of life because that's where I need to be, or like that's just, I don't know, where I'm supposed to be. Like this is where I'm intended to be. I always thought I was like on track almost, because when did we buy a house? We bought a house in like 2020 or 2021 or something like that. No, 2021. And I was like, wow, I bought a house and I'm moving out of my parents' house at this age. How old was I? What year are we in? 2024? I think I was like 23, 24. I think. I'm trying to think of like when we bought it. I don't remember. I was 23 or 24 years old, and I was like, oh my God, I'm 23, I'm 24. I'm moving out of my parents' house. I'm moving in with my boyfriend at the time. Like life is going kind of crazy, doing really big things, but like at such a young age, like it's so crazy to think about that like the house we bought was going to be ours. Like this is my house. Like I have a house. I am 24 years old in a house, with a job, making my own income. We were living life, being able to luckily afford the house that we got and the bills with it, like all this stuff. And it was the weirdest thought process ever. And it was like, oh my God, I skipped a whole like apartment living on my own type of situation, which I'm not really upset about. I did want to experience it. I definitely vocalized that I wanted to experience like an apartment vibe and seeing what it was like being out on your own or out of your parents' house. But it's not like it was like a, no, I need to do this first. I was super excited to have my own space, to have my own place. At the time, obviously, it was our place, but it was just super exciting for the fact that you wake up, you're going to work, you're coming home to like a brand new place. Like, it's a new place to you. Like, it's super exciting. You get to decorate it how you want. You get to live life how you want in there. Like, no one can kind of tell you what to do because it's just you and your significant other. Like, that's who it was for me at the time. And it was so weird. And then down the road, 2 years later, we're having a baby. And it's like, wow, like, this is how growing up is. Like, you're with someone, you're buying a house, you're having a baby. Like, a lot of people are getting married. Like, one of my best friends just sent one of the things in the mail of being a maid of honor. So the fact that she's getting married is mind-blowing to me. Like, it's so weird that, like, this is the part of life that we're in. And it's, like, all over social media. This person's getting engaged. This person just got married. This person's pregnant. Like, it's so weird when you start seeing, like, everyone your age all over social media, like, stepping into, like, their next part of life. I think it's kind of wild. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, life isn't a race. Life isn't like, you need to do this by this time and this by this time. If I, honestly, at the age I was at now, to be perfectly honest, was still at my parents' house, I think, like, I don't know, it's one of those things where it's, people go through and they're like, oh, this person's still with their parents at this age. Like, that's not cool. But they're living life. Like, that's where they are to be at the moment. Like, that's, for some reason in their life, that's where they needed to be, or that's where they're meant to be. They're happy, they're healthy, like, they're fine, they're living life. They still have their job, making income, being able to, like, afford and do everything that they want to do. I don't know. I feel like that would definitely be, like, a whole different scenario of my life and, like, a whole different surrounding for my life. But, like, if that's where I had to be, like, that's where I would have to be. I don't know, like, you grow up and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to move out. But then again, like, now you're at the point where, like, everything's hitting you from every direction and you're like, but what if I was still at my parents right now? Would that be weird? I don't know. Like, I'm not saying, me personally, I would want to be at my parents, but, like, a lot of people I've noticed on social media and everything, my age, are still living with their parents, but I don't really think there's anything wrong with it. Like, I'm not saying it's good that you're out and it's good that you're not. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's just life. Like, some people think they have to be out in the world at this age and living the life they have always dreamed of by this age. Like, there's no being on track in life. Like, you're just almost taking life day to day. And however it's taking you, like, it's taking you. On the same kind of topic as that, like, thinking that it's too late to be doing something just because you're getting older is also a thing that I honestly personally have thought about. That, like, you're too old to be doing this or too old to be doing that because now you're reaching mid-20s or upper 20s. You shouldn't be doing this anymore, type of thing. I personally praise all the people that have gone back to school. I definitely just did not think that school was for me. I never thought of going to college. I wouldn't even know what I'd want to study or what I'd want to look into, and definitely get a degree and, like, a job into. That would definitely take every ounce of my brain to think about what I actually loved that much, if that makes sense. But a lot of either parents that go back to school to get their degree and an education in something, to get the job they either realized they really loved and didn't know at the time, or just branching off into a different aspect of life, and that's what they needed to do to reach that next step for them. It's never too late to go back and do something. It's never too late to start something. I definitely have thought, now that I'm on social media and doing YouTube and this podcast and all this stuff, I definitely wish I would have kind of gotten myself to overcome these fears a long time ago. I would have loved to be 10, 15 years deep into this. Meanwhile, I'm only a few. I definitely would have loved to start this way back when and been on like a whole different aspect of this right now, like way into it, knowing way more than I hopefully have already learned. But it's never too late to start. It's never too late to do something you've always loved to do. I never really knew I would have loved doing a podcast this much, but here we are. I'm so glad that I started it, because I would still be sitting in my mind being like, oh, I wish I would have started that, or oh, I should just start that, or now it's too late. There's no point in starting that. I definitely hate thinking of the there's no point type of situation, but it's definitely something I'm glad I did. So hopefully just the whole too late aspect doesn't hold anyone back, because I just don't think it's ever too late to really do anything that you really want to do. Trying to balance being an adult with bills and money and a job, and now like parent life, motherhood, all that stuff is definitely like a juggle. I honestly never learned to juggle. So like the fact that this is a juggle and very complicated, I don't know if that goes hand in hand, but I would, what is that thing called? Like not a comparison, but like a metaphor. That's my metaphor right now. I'll be honest, I never was really one of like saving money. I'm not really good with saving money. I've gotten, I would say, kind of better. Am I the best? Absolutely not. Me and money aren't typically like friends when it comes to that. I don't know, like once I have it, I'm like, oh my God, this is what I want. There are some things where I'm like, no, I know I can't get that, or I'll save for this for another time. I've been really good with saving money lately, kind of, but I don't know, bills are annoying. Like I hate them. I hate that there's so much going on. I don't know, just trying to balance all that, I would say, is the worst part of being in your 20s, because I feel like the older you get, the more bills come to you, so to speak. There's just bills anywhere you look. Anytime you turn around, you think you have a little more money than you thought, and then another bill is coming, or you forgot about this one, or this one is like an auto pay thing, so it just automatically comes out of your account, and you're like, dang it, like I thought I had that money, but here we are, another bill coming your way. I don't know. I would say that's the worst. If I had to put like my finger on the worst part of being in your 20s, bills and money, and bills and money together. And I feel like as you're trying to like save money, part of you just kind of, I don't want to say gives up, but you're at that point where you're like, you know what? I need to do this for me. I need to get this for me. I deserve this type of situation, which probably 9 times out of 10, I'd say you do. I'd say you deserve that coffee. I say you deserve to go get your hair done, get your nails done, get, I don't know, whatever else you're thinking you want and you deserve, go get it. Trying to give yourself like the me time and like hanging out with your friends and going to grab dinner or going to grab a couple drinks or going to the movies. I wouldn't say you necessarily have to go out every single weekend. Like there's definitely a time to say no and like relax and know you have to like save a little bit. But at the same time, you don't have to say no all the time. Like there's a time in a weekend to be like, okay, no, I'm going to go out this weekend. We're going to have fun. We're going to hang out. We're going to catch up. We're going to have a good time. And then like we'll worry about it like on Monday. Like we'll look at our bank account on Monday and realize we probably shouldn't have spent that money, but we did. It's over with. At that point, it's in the past. You can always get money back, but you can't get like time back is kind of, I've seen that quote like all over Instagram, like Instagram reels where it's like, take that vacation, like you'll get money back, you'll get the money back, you'll make the money back, but you won't get the time back to go on that trip. And part of me is like, that is so true. Like I'll go to work and make the money back when I get back to work, but this might have been the only time I could have gone on this trip or booked that ticket or something. But then like part of me is like, I stress out about the money I have right now, and I'm like, oh my God, like I can afford it, but like, is this what I want to put my money towards? Like, I know I'll get that money back, but I'm really scared to book it in the meantime. It plays games with you. Like, money, I swear, plays games with your adult mind, and when you have things that you need to pay for and like you should be putting towards, and you're trying to talk yourself out of spending it on something completely different, like it's so hard and annoying because you know you should go out and have the best time that you can, but at the same time you're still trying to be, like I said earlier, like responsible and smart about what you have. I'm telling you, the weirdest roller coaster in life. Like life changes and the pace of life are so weird. Like they are literally like, you're like, woo, up and down, left and right and everywhere. I don't know if that's just me. If it's just me, I'm probably sounding like a psycho right now, but I swear life sometimes drags you like in and out of every which direction that you don't know what to do. You don't know how you're living anymore. You're just like, I'm just going along with however life is taking me, which is kind of a scary thought to begin with as well. I mean, besides, like I said, money and bills together, the weirdest thing for life is moving out, because finding a place to live is all literal fun and games. Looking for houses and apartments and all this stuff, I personally think is really fun because I like going around and kind of seeing the world. Anywhere you live is going to be different from one place to the next. So going out and trying to find a space that you like, obviously can also afford, but can see yourself living in, I think is so much fun because, I don't know, like just going in and seeing a space and trying to picture it, like how you would set it up and what each room and each little corner is going to have, and decorating is so much fun. The thought of actually moving out and like packing and everything is super stressful, but when you actually get past, I would say, that point, and you're finally in your new space and you're setting everything up and everything starts to become its own space and everything is put in its place and finds a place, it kind of relaxes you a little bit. And then once you start going through life in that new space, you realize like how much you can do like for yourself and by yourself and all of that stuff. It's a really scary, stressful time, but at the same time, it's really fun to me anyways. I think it's both scary and fun all at once. Not all at once. It's scary and fun as you're packing and trying to move, and especially if you have like a date you have to be out by that you're trying to like rush to get everything out and all together. But once you're moving into the new place and you've been kind of picturing it and like haven't stopped thinking about it, and you finally get the keys and whatever, it just becomes a little more like stress relieving and fun. And now it's like your chance to set up everything you've wanted in your own space. Now you're out of more than just your room. You have your own living room and your kitchen and a dining room, if like in a house or something, or like a little balcony you can set up. I wish I had a balcony. That'd be so cute. But all that, I think sitting and realizing that that is now yours, and you can do probably anything you want with it. Is super, super, super fun. But yeah, I don't know. Another thing that's really annoying, I would actually say this is the top thing of being in your 20s. That is the biggest thing, is everything has become so dang expensive. Everything, groceries, rent, gas, going out on the weekend, I swear, like food, everything has definitely gone up in price. Definitely some things have skyrocketed more than others, but everything at this point has just been so freaking expensive. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Something needs to give with that. If I had to say one last thing, is everything does not need to be so expensive. I get this world has to go round and people have to make their money, but like if we had to lower things a little bit, I wouldn't be super upset, and I think a lot of people would do a lot better in this world, but that is probably something completely different. With that being said, final thing I guess I can say is being adult is all right at times. It sucks at times. It's really fun at times. It's scary at times. Personally, if I had to stick with what I said, it's the biggest roller coaster you'll probably ever be on. Like I said, if you're not in your 20s, I didn't want this to scare you, but I just kind of thought about talking about being in your 20s, mostly because of the fact that I've almost gone through my 20s at this point. Like I said, I'm turning 28, so a few more years left until we hit the big 3-0 and start living in our 30s. But yeah, I don't know. If I had to say one last thing, it's have your own plan in life. Life is going to take you way differently down a road than someone else. So don't be kind of living your life through someone else. Kind of live your life through how you want to live it. You will get to where you want to get to in life. It might take you longer than others, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think just kind of going along with the ride of life, it's going to be scary. It's going to be crazy, but you're also going to hit those fun parts. And I would say, honestly, just enjoy it. Kind of enjoy wherever it's taking you, wherever you end up going. You might even go somewhere you never thought you would, but love it way more than you thought you would. You never would have imagined being somewhere, and now it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to you. Like, life is one of those things where it's weird like that, and you just kind of have to go with the flow a little bit, and you might not be guided how you thought it would, but it also could be fun wherever it takes you. Yeah, I don't really feel like getting like that inspirational. I'm not trying to sit here and tell you life is great, but with that being said, that is all I have for this episode. If you OBS did that weird thing with me with the thumbs up bubble, I don't know how long that's going to be on the screen for because I didn't realize it in the moment. So if it was up for a little bit, I am so sorry for that, but luckily that happened at the end of this episode, not in the middle or anything. But if you have gotten to this point in this episode, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you next week when this goes live because I have recorded it so far in advance. I can't get over that. I can't get over the fact that it is Tuesday and I'm recording an episode. To me, that is wild because I never record this early. But I'll see you next week when this goes live. Bye.